This might be it. This might be my Metal OG vinyl haul of the year. 15 records in this pile we're going to take a look at. All vintage from the 80s and early 90s. Let's get into it. Simon here, Explosive Action. This pile started about 3 months ago. In fact, it was long enough ago that I thought two of the records in here I'd already talked about. In fact, I went back and checked my videos. I talked to a couple of people. Have I shown this? And they're like, you haven't shown this, which, okay. I have clear memories of showing stuff, or at least talking about it, but apparently not. I've just dreamt it. So we're finally here, and the pile just kept growing. In the last month, it kind of grew exponentially. There's been some really good stuff listed on Discogs, some things on eBay. I even got one thing as a used item from a distributor in the UK who normally sells new stuff, and I chucked in a used item. So all over the shop. I got a couple of things from a record store. It's just 15. Let's get into it. The first one here has a bit of a connection to my last video. I hope you watched that one when I went to the record fair. Quite a popular video that one's turned out to be. And I mentioned, and one of the records I got from that was Annihilator, I can't speak, Annihilator, and their second album, Never Neverland. And I mentioned in that video that as I was cleaning the record and listening to the record, I was browsing on Discogs, and this album was listed. So I bought it. And yeah, we now have both of the first two Annihilator albums at the same time, within 7-8 days of each other. Ridiculous. Alice in Hell, the debut album, it's great. I've wanted it for years. I wanted both of those Annihilator for years. They just never got listed. I've had them in my wish list for ages. Just never kind of happened. So yeah, getting Never Neverland last week was great. And then this listing the same day, it was meant to happen. Alice in Hell. Can't remember when this came out. I mean, probably 87 or something along those lines. I didn't write it down. But this is a fantastic technical thrash album from the opening bars. It's got an introduction where Jeff Waters, as the guitarist of Annihilator, is doing this classical guitar piece for a few minutes, and it's just so awesome. Goes straight into the first track, which is the kind of title track. It's not Alice in Hell, it is Allison Hell. Get it? And it's easily the highlight track on the album. It is just it's a thrash piece. It is an absolute classic thrash song. If you were making like a 2-disc compilation of best thrash songs ever, you could quite happily include that song on there. So good, so many like nooks and crannies and passages and interesting things happening in it, and the vocals are fantastic. Everyone knows the chorus in that one where he just screams out, Alice in Hell, and it's so good, and I just did the best impression. But anyway, yeah, I'm stoked to have this. The whole album is really good. Now I'm gonna, is it 50-50? Is it this album, Never Neverland? Flip a coin, which is the best Annihilator? I don't think it matters. Either side that coin lands, it's a belter of an album. So, if you don't know them for some reason, I mean, it's kind of the best parallel is actually sort of similar period Megadeth, really. I think Dave Mustaine had a very similar style, that lead guitar playing as the riffs. So you can sort of hear that here, really good. And there's also some more Testament and Overkill and that kind of thrash as well. So really good, progressive, technical thrash, awesome stuff. Very, very happy to have this one. I love how they'll have song will be made of proper riffs, not just noodling, and then there'll be like a bridge, and where others might do like a little solo or something, they'll just put in 30 seconds of technicality to get across that bridge. I thought that was really cool. That's what I really liked about it. Take a look at this. There's 15 things here, so I don't want to waffle on too long. Road Racer Press. Yeah, one of the first, if not the first press. Here's the inner. There's the guys, all 5 guys. Apparently it is not really all 5 guys, it is really 3 guys, and the record label said throw more people on there. So I don't think the bassist actually plays bass, for example. It's kind of like Jeff Waters and the vocalist and the drummer, and then we need another guitarist for the photo, and he might have done a solo or something. Not entirely sure. They are all credited, but yeah, there's a bit of a story there that others would know better than me. I'm only getting to this stuff now, but yeah, all the lyrics, excellent album. Stoked to have this one. Annihilator, Alice in Hell. Fantastic opener. I mean, if I'm starting with Annihilator and we've got 14 more to go, there's going to be some crackers coming up. And this one, it might be at number 2, but my God, this is a fantastic album. One that I'm happy to swap out from CD. This was a situation where I had the second album on vinyl for a bit. I've talked about the second album. I love the Sophomore release from this band. I rate it higher than this album. Not to say this album is not excellent. I just think that one's better. And I had this one on CD. And that annoys me. CD for the first album, vinyl for the second. Bah! Fix the problem. Forbidden Evil. The debut from Forbidden. It is far more direct and aggressive than the follow-up, I think. It's probably more in common with like Dark Angel or something than the second album does. The second album sort of follows more into that technical and progressive path that they were following. Here, it's just stripped back a bit more. Very Slayer-ish barked vocals. Like the first track on here, like the lyrics is, "Welcome to the Church of Lies." It's so Slayer in its delivery. It's really good. That's Chalice of Blood. Hits you off the head like straight away. Like it's an absolute fantastic, cracking opening song. And yeah, like I Twisted Into Form, I do prefer, but this is absolutely no Slash. Look, they even look like 1991 era Slayer here. I mean, look at it. Got the big Ray-Bans. It just rips. Like the whole thing rips. It's like a weekday Forbidden versus the Sunday church best dressed, Forbidden. That's what you got here. It's more savage. It's more relentless. It's coming home from work and you take the tie off and you get someone to pour you a scotch and you put this one on. Whereas Twisted Into Form, I don't know where I'm going with this, is the album that you play at church because it's slightly nicer. And where am I going with this? Anyway, hey, Forbidden Evil. It's late in the day. Savage, relentless, top tier thrash. It is still technical. It is still proficient. The band, even at this stage, are a cut above the rest in just their skills. And happy to find this. This is the original Combat press. There's the Combat logo. And got this one locally. Doesn't show up very often. Thrash collage. Love the thrash collage. You get a whole list of other Combat stuff here you can buy on the back. Some Hellstar, some Halloween, a hell of a lot of GBH. There's your Dark Angel, Exodus, Voivod, Vendetta. Good stuff, good period of time. And record, we will, I'll take them out because they've all got, original labels and things. There you go, Combat. They're very combat-y looking thing. Perfect condition, absolutely perfect. A couple of little nicks, but I would call that a near mint. Or at least a VG with about 6 pluses after it. So yeah, that is Forbidden Evil. Do I prefer it to the second one? No, but it's still a belter. This next one I'm going to do very quick, and this was one of the ones that I thought I had shown. I'm like, seriously, have I not shown this one? And if you think I've shown this, then please tell me that I have, because I could not find reference of my notes or any video where I showed this, but I swear I did. Apparently not. But I don't need to say much about it anyway. Megadeth, Peace Sells. But who's buying? Apparently me, because I picked it up. This one I got from a local record store. It's been kicking around for a while. And when I went going through the collectibles bin, I noticed that the price, it seemed to be different, or at least my memory was different. It's probably just my memory. But either way, I was happy with the price that today rather than, 2 years or so ago that it has been sitting in that record store. And I picked it up, so there we go. Megadeth, Peace Sells. It's a classic. What do I need to say about it? It's of the 80s Megadeth, it's my favourite. I think you could put this versus Rust in Peace for ultimate Megadeth, and that's kind of the battle for me, really. Like, I'm not like a mad in love Megadeth fan. I like quite a few albums. I don't own many, honestly. I've got Rust on CD. I'd love the LP, but if you watch that video I did last week, not at that price, son. And I've got a few of the new ones. I've got Dystopia. I've got System Has Failed. I think that's a really good album. But I'm kind of sporadic all over the place. But this one I needed. This is the one I needed for the Thrash collection. And this is, if you're going to get one Megadeth album, I think many will agree. You might say Rust in Peace, but I think many will agree with Peace Sells. So I picked it up. It's great. I mean, like, It's the first one I've got on LP, which is surprising, I know, but it's got classic songs, like the A side on this. Wake Up Dead, banger. Conjuring, Peace Cells is embedded in most thrash fans' brains by now. Devil's Island's great. I mean, side A is just a belter all the way through. And side 2 is just as good. We just skip past I Ain't Superstitious. But at least, look, this is to the power of this album, is that out of all their covers that they did, like Anarchy in the UK and These Boots, this is the least terrible cover. Like, you can listen to it and go, well, that was a song. I don't know what the obsession was at the time. I mean, other bands were doing it. Realm did a bloody Beatles cover. Like, I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, you can't turn the clock back. You can put on Peace Cells, though, and smash your brain with it, because it's a really good album. And I can live with that cover. It's fine. These Boots, can't live with that one. There's the nice inner. It's got a few stains on it from whoever's owned it before. But yeah, it's was it the? I can't remember if this is the exact original. This is, I mean, it's Megadeth. They've had 4 billion copies. It is a little bit nicked up, but it plays perfectly good. A little bit of light crackle. I gave it a good strong bath, and at the lead-ins, because you can actually see, whoever's had this has partied it. And they've been not particularly careful with how they've been dropping the stylus. I think they just chuck it on. So yeah, the start of each side is a little bit crackly, but by the end of sort of the first song on each side, it's all good. And like when the riffs are happening, yeah, it's metal. You can't hear the crackle. It's never overpowering. So yeah, old Capitol Records press, it's good. I would have liked to be, a grade up. This would be a VG. A half plus or something. I don't know. Either way, I'm struggling with getting in. I'm not going to make you guys watch me do that. Megadeth, Peace Cells, and I'm buying. Next up, we have some German speed metal from 1985. Second thing I've gotten from this band, Warrant, not that Warrant, with First Strike. Look at old mate there on the cover. Got his axe, got his keys. He's obviously like the dungeon master. Someone's escaping the prison. They've managed to get their locks off. And he's running at you with his axe. He's got the keys, and he's got his schlong. One of those things is going to be First Strike, and you kind of want it to be the axe, I think. The band's debut EB from 85. 5 tracks, 20 minutes. It's just in and out. I showed the debut, The Enforcer. Not sure if it was last year or the year before. I've had it for a bit. It's a really, really good album. And these guys sort of play right there in that period, like Iron Angel style. It's German speed metal, like right there, 1985, 86. And just so you don't get confused, I mean, there's the guys. Yeah, they might look a little bit hairy metal. They're sort of a bit more gritty than that. But don't worry, it's not Cherry Pie Warrant. The first track is called Satan. It's a very different Warrant. Okay, so, this is great. This is really solid stuff. The production's clear and crisp. Very full sound, very heavy sound. The snare drum, I'm trying to work it out. Like, I don't think it's electronic. It's not really that time for it, but it's, I don't know, the way it's recorded, it's almost sounding like someone's got a metal spanner on like a metal sheet or something, and that's sort of the snare. It's odd. It's an odd sound. Like, it's not offensive. It's not off-putting, but you do notice it. It's kind of weird. So anyway, that's the first thing I noticed. It's but the EP though is just 5 belting tracks of speed metal, strong riffs, very solid songs here. Vocally, it's kind of like a gruff attempt at singing. It's nothing particularly amazing, but 85 German speed metal, it does the job. It's everything you kind of need. This is out on the, I'll just make sure I'm getting that correct, and I am, Noise Records, because Noise Collage. And look at the stuff that came out. You've got the death metal compilation, which didn't have death metal on it. Celtic Frost, you got Hellhammer, there's your Warrant, there's your Sinner, there's your Running Wild, Halloween, bunch of Grave Diggers, my god. There's your lyrics, there's your photos. They're looking a little bit more, sort of Running Wild, first 2 albums there. Except for the leopard print pants. Now we're going to Cherry Pie Warrant. But whatever, it's a belter. Big fan, nice, basically mint. Can't say no to mint. Indeed fresh. Good stuff. There you go. That is Warrant with First Strike. It's still deadly. This one I was really filling a gap in the collection, a hole that needed to be plugged. I had the second album from this band, I had the EP that I think went between them. Missing the debut, and that was not going to hold Seymour. Nuclear Assault, Game Over. Of course I had to have this one. Like I said, I had Survive, the second album. That was one of the first things I bought when I was getting back into vinyl. But the first thing I bought two things. The first day I got back into this hobby in sort of 2017, I think it was, maybe 2018, was Realm, which I already mentioned because I was sitting there at Utopia Records, and Nuclear Assault's The Plague EP, which was is a 45 RPM, I think. And then I got Survive. Working backwards, now I've got Game Over. So yeah, it comes up reasonably frequently. It's been showing on Discogs and eBay locally over the last few years. Always been just a little bit up there, and there's always been this one guy trying to sell a signed one for $200. I don't want signatures on it. This one listed, it is, I swear it's never been played. I mean, look at it, the sheen on this thing. We'll get to the record on site. This is the one I was waiting for, and it costs less than all the others, so good timing. Sometimes you just gotta wait. And this is a great thrash album, absolutely rabid. I mean, I don't need to say much. These guys are from New York. This came out in '86. This is the Under One Flag original press. You can tell the original press because there's a barcode on the reissues. This one does not have a barcode, but it is issued under license from Combat. So you got your US version and your Euro or UK version at the same time. So yeah, it's an absolute cracker. I mean, you get through the first track and then onto Sin. 3 minutes 17 of just mayhem, setting the template for the whole thing. And Nuclear Assault, they're an interesting band. Like, they're one of the more aggressive bands from that period. They feel like they should be a crossover band. They hung around with the crossover bands. It should sound more like Anthraxy and SOD, but I don't hear it. I hear more Hyrax and violence. It's just balls out thrash metal. There's no, hopping punk vibes in this for me. Not on this one. This is, I mean, maybe a little bit on the Plague EP, and a bit later, maybe a little bit, but not here. This is just destruction. It is nuclear assault. It is nuclear weapons. It is political and social lyrics in thrash. And I don't know which one's better. Do I prefer Survive or Game Over? Again, we're back to flipping a coin. It doesn't really matter. It's an absolute belter. And look at this. I mean, it's still, the thing is just shining. It's just outstanding. Beautiful condition. Oh, look, a thrash collage. Fantastic. And yeah, I put new inners on everything. I've said that before. I give them all a clean to whatever extent they need. But I mean, this is untouched. Absolutely untouched. Don't know what's coming across there, but minty fresh, Mr. Brendan Von Doom. And yeah, it's a hole filled in the collection, and I am stoked to have Nuclear Assault, Game Over, the first album from the band. Next up, I'm going to show two at once. It would actually have been three at once by just luck, but Australia Post decided to take the scenic route. And what was supposed to arrive today may not arrive until tomorrow, possibly Monday. But if it arrives, well, you might see it make a random appearance in this video. What am I talking about? I am talking about this band, Warlock, with two albums, the debut Burning the Witches and the sophomore one called Hellbound. I almost said Hellhound, but it's Hellbound. And the band is relatively new to me. 5 years ago, you would not have been able to get me to listen to something like this, but I'm getting older and I'm going back in time. I'm regressing. I had this conversation with Mr. Extra the Mutilator, your friend of mine, and he kind of realized that I'm going backwards. And if you look at this video, and definitely one of the other things that's coming up, it's kind of true. I still keep up with all the new stuff, but I'm going back in time, and it's just like. What we found as well, which is really interesting, is that I've had this not intentional but kind of cut-off point of 1985. And it bleeds past. Like, I've got some 83s and 84s and 82s, but really, the stuff that has been capturing my interest has been 85 plus. We're going back a little here. 84. It's just baby steps, folks. We're going backwards here. 84, Burning the Witches. Now, why have I got Warlock? I listened to something. I think Hellbound listed locally. I think it was eBay, and I'm like, oh well, I've heard that band and I've seen that cover a million times. I should give it a listen and see what I think. And it blew me away, and it's entirely because of the vocalist Doro Pesch. I think it's Pesch, how you say it. She is an absolute, oh god, queen of heavy metal. It just outstanding pipes on that woman. And I know I'm probably, I'm preaching to a lot of the choir at the moment, but I'm glad to have found this band. And they had 4 albums in the 80s, a German respectable heavy metal band. And then she's went solo, just as the name Doro, and she's done like 15 albums since then. She's still going, metal queen. But here we are with the first and second album from her first band, Warlock, and this is just great, straight up German heavy metal. It's very Judas Priest and Accept, but from that mid 80s style, not earlier sort of 70s style. There's moments like I think Hellbound's the more aggressive of the two. This one's probably got a little bit more of the past, and it makes sense because this is not the first press. The first press was in 84 on Mausoleum, and the fact that it's a Mausoleum band told me a few things, but we'll get to the press in a minute. But Hellbound, the second track, and the first track on here is just a belter, double kick, speed metal, killer. But then the second track, All Night, I'm listening to it going, either this is really similar to, or it has featured in the end credits of a slasher film. Like, it's got that more accessible sort of like when Wasp showed up in a bunch of horror films, has that sound to it. And Warlock do that a bit. They're not just balls out heavy metal all the time. They've got hooks and they've got crowd pleasers quite a lot. And why I think it's working for me, because normally I'd be like, oof, that's a bit too AC/DC for me. It's Doro. It's all down to her. It's her voice and her absolute power. She's not doing la 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 singing. She's destroying the men out there. She's just destruction. So there's Doro standing there front of the band, and I'm really enjoying this. And as I said, there's a third one that was meant to show up, and it's the third album. So they then even got the fourth one, which was I think 87 or 8 or something. So if I find that, I will have rapidly completed the Warlock collection. But anyway, so we'll get into this. Burning the Witches, as I said, it's not the Mausoleum. I guess it was just too popular for Mausoleum and got picked up by a real label, Vertigo. So this is the Vertigo press, original sound recording made by Mausoleum. So getting a bit more popular, I suppose. Got a reissue, and good on them. A lot of the Mausoleum bands stuck as being Mausoleum bands, and Warlock broke through. And this one here, Hellbound, we saw the back on that. This one is particularly interesting to me. We have the inner. So there you go. There's Doro, there's the crew. Incredibly metal. There's the lyrics. But this doesn't happen. This is not the kind of thing that happens anymore. They've obviously proven themselves. I don't know if it's actually visible on here. This is a Vertigo press. It's not exactly listed, but whatever. Vertigo press. It's the Australasian edition. We actually made a local copy of this album in 85, which just we did do stuff locally. We actually had manufacturing. Is it written there on the back? It's what Discogs told me anyway. That was the Australasian version. Look, whatever. It is what it is. That's what I read. Warlock, Hellbound, and that's 2 albums in this video, but possibly 3 albums. So I'm injecting myself from the future here. And Australia Post did finally deliver today the 3rd Warlock album. True as steel, true to my word, I did get a 3rd album. And I've given it a clean, I've given it a play. It's just as good. I mean, maybe this one's starting to get a little bit more accessible again. It's still got some sort of speedy tracks. It's got some tracks with double kicks and things, but I think it's probably got a little bit less of that. Maybe a bit more sort of big anthem kind of sing-along kind of tracks. But again, because it's Doro on the vocals, it's just a powerhouse the whole way through. Even the fact that the side 2 has a song literally called Love Song, and it's got a Dirty Great Heart on the back. I should be running away. but I'm not. It's done so well. She's got such a great voice. There she is again there with the rest of the band. And we'll take a look in here. Before I get you back to the rest of the normal video, we've got the inner lyrics there, both sides of the thanks list. And it is again an Australasian press, 1986 I think this was. So yeah, a green Vertigo center label there. The Euro and US ones I think are orange labels. So yeah, an Australasian press. It's just, as I said, things we don't get done anymore over here. So yeah, the third Warlock album. I've gotten 3 Warlock albums in the space of 2 weeks, and they're all great. And yeah, I think I'm on a bit of a Warlock train now. You know, sometimes it's speed metal, sometimes it's just balls out heavy metal with double kick, bit of power metal to it. Sometimes it is into that hard rock style, which is a little bit of poison for me. But Doro, she helps me see it through. I won't beat around the bush on this one. I picked this one up for a few reasons. It's cheap, the cover was fantastic, and I was very familiar with some of the songs, but not performed by this band. Diamond Head, Behold the Beginning, my first foray into this band. And you know, knowing my age, how I got into metal, if you've watched these videos for a long enough time, I know these songs because of Metallica. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a new wave of British heavy metal expert. I am no Alan Professor of Steel. Behold the Beginning, this, from what I gather, this is a compilation. Now, it's actually been kind of challenging trying to work out what is what with Diamond Head. Yeah, I probably need somebody to explain it all to me, but what I wanted to know, what I wanted to hear here is the originals. And this, I understand, is a compilation. It's a fantastic cover. It is so mid-80s. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think this, the guy that did this, I reckon is the guy that did one of the Warlord compilations I've got. It's very similar. But yeah, the tracks on here that I knew was The Electric, It's Electric, The Prince, and Helpless. Metallica covered those songs in the 80s and the early 90s. The rest was all new to me. I didn't really know these songs, but I mean, it hits you out of the gate. It's Electric's a great song. It's peppery, it's fiery. The Prince is a great song, a bit more chuggy to it. The next two, so Sweet and Innocent was where it's like, oh, okay, this is getting a bit more in that hard rock style. Because I mean, these guys have been going since the 70s. Sucking My Love was exactly what the song title said. They probably could have left it off. It's got like a minute during like this guitar noodling of just sex sounds. Okay. And look, the whole thing is good though. Like I'm really enjoying it. But it is, I'm no expert at this stuff. Like I don't have Mystery 7 inches, and I certainly don't have Randy. But yeah, giving this one a go has been fun. And like I said, it's tough. I've found it quite difficult to work out what's what. So when you look on Discogs and Metal Archive, songs seem to repeat themselves. They show up on this album and here and here and here. YouTube doesn't help either. None of those, even bloody Spotify. Seems the only thing Diamond Head wants you to hear these days is the 2021 remastered version of an earlier album, and I think it might even be re-recorded. So very hard to like find out what you've got. But what I have here is some hard rock and heavy metal from 86. I don't know if their songs are lifted from earlier material. I don't know if they're re-recorded for this compilation. I have no idea. It is missing Am I Evil? That would have been a nice inclusion for my, Metallica senses. But either way, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, Behold the Beginning. Fill me in, guys. You know more about this than I do, I would hope. And I just, it doesn't have an inner. I don't know if it was meant to. Tell you what, though, they pressed this on 180 grand. Weighs an absolute ton. Basically near mint, beautiful condition. I always find that with these compilation type things out on Metal Masters, people just don't give a shit, so they don't get beaten around. People want the albums, not the comps. So every time I picked up one of these kinds of things, previous owner never played it. But anyway, that's Diamond Head. My first example of Diamond Head. I don't know if I need to go and buy thousands of things from them. I don't even know if you can. There's heaps of stuff. But is it all just the same, like 10 songs? I can't quite work it out. So anyway, here you go, Diamond Head, Behold the Beginning. Next up, we have the debut album from this Nashville thrash band. It came out in 87. This, very good band, this is Intruder. They came in through the window. I apologise. I had the Sophomore album, Higher Form of Killing, from this band for a while now. Probably 2 years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. It's really good. I play that one a bit. And I just saw Brendan Von Doom show this as well. He managed to pick it up. And he picked it up locally, I think, down in Melbourne. And I picked it up locally here in Sydney. So, mate, one of these days, we're going to just bump into each other at a record store. And it's going to be fisticuffs. Like, it's one of us will not be leaving alive. Just pulling your chain. This is tight technical thrash metal. Really good stuff. The album after this got a bit more technical. They're kind of like Toxic. And the album cover here is kind of gloomy. It makes you think it's just going to be like plotting, I don't know, like Ozzy Osbourne kind of heavy metal or something. But no. This is quite techy, quite well-produced thrash. And real clean, very snappy production on this too. Kick drums have a very big presence, especially when they do like little triplets and things. It doesn't like the drums are probably maybe 5% out with the rest of the album. Like it's just a little bit off. Nothing, it's just something I noticed. It doesn't matter, but you know they fix themselves up a bit on the next. Probably gave the drummer a bit of a slap or something. And the next album, no issues. But it just balls out thrash from America. It's good stuff. Not all balls out. There's plenty of groove. There's plenty of change-ups, but it's quite ballsy. There's the band. There's the guys looking very permed, but also wearing their torn jeans and their sleeveless metal shirts. Always good when you see bands with metal shirts that are sleeveless. Look at the skulls on these things. Fantastic. Lots of very gloomy, like hangmen's nooses and dead bodies and stuff. I don't know what the go is there. Who drew it? Original inner, and then as I said, I put new clean inners after I've cleaned the LPs. Pretty good neck, this one. Probably a VG. Bit of hair on it. VG plus. Out on, Ironworks, which I think is Jag Panzer's label at the same time. So, happy to knock this one off. The third album from the band, I don't know if I need it or not. I listened to it online once, and it's definitely a bit of a step down. If I see it cheap, maybe, I don't know. But at this point, I got the first two ones from Intruder. Band, at least for the first two albums, I don't hear them get remembered very often. And well worth your time. Check out Intruder, Left to Die. So the day I got the Megadeth, I also picked this one up, which is why I thought I already showed this. I even have memories of me saying words, but whatever, it doesn't matter at this point. We're going to en français. We have Killerz with Danger de Vie. Devi, not entirely sure. Look at that stuff. Jesus Christ, there's bullets, the guitars. It's amazing. What a cover. Speedy French metal, sung in French, 1986. The band's second album of 18 full lengths and 5 live albums, and they are still going. And I'd never heard of them. The epitome of like a geographically bound band. Like they're just a regional little band in wherever in France, and I shouldn't own this. I mean, surely that's the situation here. Like 18 full-length albums and they're still going. This is like Anvil or something. I don't know. But anyway, what you have here, before I go into it, the reason I think possibly is that after this album, the only person left was the original guitarist. Everyone else left and formed a different band called Titan, and I'd like to check that band out. They just got a new vocalist, and it's Killerz, but different vocalist. So the guitarist kicked on here, different guitarist. So the guitarist kicked on here, and just if you look on Metal Archives over the years, it's like him and 2 page scrolls of different members. So probably doesn't help why they're not so big. They just keep changing. But anyway, what you have here is just straight up French heavy metal from that period, something like similar to countrymen like ADX, Volcane, or also something like Gravedigger, I think. Just straight up heavy metal, mix of speedy numbers, some slower numbers, bordering on power ballads, but not quite. Some nice passages of like Spanish guitar, that was nice to hear. But conversely, there's sort of some bigger arena, sort of crowd participation songs and moments. So it's a mix of things all over the place. The vocalist Patrice. There is Patrice. Wow, he's unhinged. He is a squealer, absolute squealer. He's like a drunk Frenchman yelling obscenities. I'm sorry, that was just terrible. I apologise. If I remember to remove that, I will. I don't remember. But anyway, this is this is some pretty decent stuff. I quite enjoy. And I think Mr. Thomas from Merciful Metal, if you're not aware of Killerz for some obscure reason, this is your stuff, man. You should go check this out. So, yeah, Killerz with Danger de V out on Sydney Productions, which is also where I think Titan ended up. Take a quick look in here. It even actually says ADX in there. Merci to Volcane and ADX. It's like I read the inside or something. Judas Priest, I guess, except Metallica. It's all written on here. It's all in French. I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, look at this song. The chorus on this one is, hey, do metal. Hey, Mattia do metal. Over and over. Metal, 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 metal. They like metal. So, hey, they like metal. I like metal. Killerz. Danger de V. Next up, we have a Belgium one-and-done band. This is all they wrote. And I was stoked to get this one. It came up locally. It is pretty rare, so yeah, lucky to have this one. This is Asphyxia with Exit Reality. The band formed in 87, and you know, that's not too shabby for thrash, but I don't know what happened. They did not get this thing out until, I think, 91, so a bit late in the game. Probably doesn't help matters that nobody seems to know who this band is, but that's got to be the only possible explanation, because this is top tier thrash. Absolutely top tier. This is a thrash-to-piece. Second time I've said that today. Being early 90s, it's got that, you know, a bit of a dose of chug and groove in there as well, but it is just like something like Mesro, or better yet, like a less deathy version of Devastation. I think that's sort of where you're going with this. Even a bit of Scott Burns era Sepultura, I think, Beneath the Remains. This is heavy stuff. It's a bit technical. This is like, it's everything I like about thrash, but nobody knows about this thing. So, yeah, amazed that it showed up locally. It had no right to appear on Australian Discogs. Particularly that this exists only on this LP, put out by Rumble Records, and the same CD put out the same time by Rumble Records. Everything else is a bootleg. There's a CD floating around. It's Russian. Ignore it. It's fake. This... Someone needs to do a proper reissue. Get this out to more people, because this thing's just classic. Looking kind of sort of testamenty-ish on here. We've got 10 tracks in 40 minutes or so, and it doesn't let up the whole thing. It is so good. So yeah, I was just thrilled to see this locally. The cover is outstanding. I mean, you've got the eyeball with a skull in the reflection there, and the circular saw's gone right through, and all the liquid's coming out. That just, oh man, it's outstanding. And that logo, basically death metal, so good. So good. We'll take a look in here. We get a lyric sheet. There we go. Just black and white, very boring. But there's the band looking a bit solemn. This guy's looking a little bit sort of Jeff Walker a bit there, actually. Oh, good on you, Carlos. Yeah, 5-piece. My God. Leo, Da, Carlos, Yves, and Carlo. And you've got an address in Belgium if you want to find out more. I guarantee you will get no answer if you do now. And take a look at the record. There you go. Minty fresh. Once again. Third time I've said that today, Brendan. I apologise. I'm stealing your shtick. I won't say it again. Asphyxia. Exit Reality. Yeah. At least listen to this. It's going to be hard to find, but at least go listen to this thing. It's on YouTube, and it's absolutely cracking thrash metal. It just kind of missed the boat of the classic era. If they got this thing out in 87, I think they would have owned it, but they didn't. So, hey, I'm happy to have it. Exit Reality from Asphyxia. Here's another pretty rare one, but I think the production on this one being so average kept the price way down there. I got this for an absolute song. Canadian band. These guys are from Ontario. This is Malicious Intent. Look at that incredibly average cover and incredibly average logo. Yeah, I stumbled over this on Discogs and just saw the cover and went, I wonder what this could be. I mean, it could have been hardcore, and then I looked at the back and went, oh, that's starting to feel the kind of hardcore. You know, it's got that industrial kind of buildings thing, and I don't know, is this going to be my style or not? Turns out it was. It is just thrash metal, and you know, it's perfectly adequate thrash metal. It is adequate thrash with a demo-like production. There's nothing wrong with adequate thrash. There's always a mood for adequate thrash. Pat from Ground Zero Salem, he champions average thrash all the time, and I'm there with him. And that's what we have here. It's just like another one on the pile. That's fine. Nothing, not everything has to be bloody forbidden and reinvent things. But the issue here is I think the band is, one, playing above their skill set, and two, didn't know how to record it. So those two things doesn't really help. It's kind of a sloppy attempt at playing early Voivod mixed with like Razor, Malicious Intent, Razor, or Sodom's first EP. Like that's sort of, it's that sloppy sound. Short songs, I wouldn't say sharp. The band experiment with sound samples, and I don't know why. I kind of like it. It's just got random sounds at the start or just in the middle of songs, like samples, like keyboards or like metallic sounding things, mechanical sounds like that. I don't know. It's an odd one. But I guess that was their way of trying to be weird like Voivod were doing. But it doesn't detract from me. But will Shades of Black from Malicious Intent win any awards? No. But it is perfectly adequate. And that's what we're all here for. Like I said, it's obscure. It doesn't show up much, but when it does, it goes for like $20. So, give it a crack. Why not? On Resistance Records with a Z. Whatever. That's probably just their own imprint. I bet they put it out themselves. Didn't look into it. I have no idea what else that label released. And, Malicious Intent. Was there an inner? Yeah, there was an inner. There is. Oop. There you go. Written with just someone's handwriting. There's the lyrics. And more lyrics. That's it. Malicious Intent. Shades of Black. Very adequate. Well, how do you follow Malicious Intent? Well, you follow it with a Malicious Onslaught, of course. Rebellious Mayhem. Oh, look at that cover. Man, this is rough and raw death thrash from 92 out in New York. They play a kind of like Morbid Saint style with a lot of Slayer creator influence. Probably some Morbid Angel demos we'll listen to in there as well. And just look at that cover. Oh, it sung to me when I saw this thing get listed. I'm like, oh man, I remember seeing this around. I have to have this. And I picked it up. And I wish I could say that the production was good, but it is not. The production sounds like this cover. It's pretty notorious, this one, for having a terrible mix. You get used to it. It has a charm. It's not a barrier. It's uneven, as in the songs like just change up. You don't know production per song what it's going to be, but sometimes the guitars are too loud. Sometimes they're just almost absent. The bass is on top. The drums are buried in other songs, like whatever. But the songs are fun. That's the good thing about this. There's good ideas. There's solid songs. Played with vigor. Played with real vigor. Vocals are barked. Lots of reverb to them. Actually sounds older than it is, I think. There's, I think that they recorded this in like 92, but the songs were mostly written in 88. So I think that sort of, one, it adds to the reason for why it sounds so old. But two, they had time to get the production right, didn't they? Supposedly not. Anyway, I love the cover there. It continues on. There's his ass. There's his head. Very demonic. And quite a challenging one to find, but I was lucky to pick this up on Brain Crusher Records. The CD came out on JL Entertainment, which is what was originally on my wish list. I figured I'm never going to find the LP. The CD I might find one day. LP showed up. Whatever. Beautiful condition. Malicious Onslaught. Rebellious Mayhem. Wonderful. So I'm pretty stoked with this. We will get it back into the sleeve somehow. So it is kind of sloppy, pretty rough and raw. Death thrash, but I'm stoked to have it. Doesn't reinvent anything, particularly not 92. If it came out in 87, probably would have. 2 to go, and this one is particularly exciting and very obscure thrash band from Finland. This is their debut album. Came out in 1989 on Megamania Records. What a great name for a label. This is A.R.G. A.R.G. We'll get to that in a minute. This is really aggressive stuff, like early Sodom with that sort of matched vocals as well, but chuck in some era-appropriate Slayer for a bit of groove there, Death Angel for that direct brutality, and you get Anarchy Rules Games, A.R.G. Or later, Ancient Rotten Graveyards. I don't know, the name is stupid however you look at it. A.R.G. But it's still the hidden gem. Absolutely this is a hidden gem. Tight, ripping thrash, very snappy production. Razor sharp riffs on this thing. Punchy drums, rumbling bass. Tracks are all short and sharp, like 3-minute mark. Except for here's the back on here. There's the guys. Looking very Finnish. Gotta say, looking very Finnish. This guy's got an A.R.G. shirt on underneath. He looks like he's gonna screw you up. And I love the light blue denim. Amazing. But there's a short track on here called Chemical Snot. It's barely in a minute and a half, and that one is basically blasting. Remember, this is thrash, but it's basically blasting. It reminds me of something crazy like Hellwitch. Look at them in front of the graveyard there. There's your Ancient Rotten Graveyard right here. Absolute ripper. And speaking of ripper, side B opener, RIP, R-I-P, that's probably the longest. That's 5 minutes long, and it is still the consistently most fastest song on the album too. RIP rips, absolutely. There's a lot of mean sort of metal face head nogging. That's one of these albums. It really, really is. This is like that Asphyxia I showed was a hidden gem. This is a hidden diamond. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. I'm so happy that this one got listed locally. I didn't know what this one was, but I was buying something else from the seller, and I had a quick look at the things they listed and went, "What's that?" And it reminded me of the, I'm pretty sure this was in the Rotting Hymns Finnish death metal book as one of the early thrash bands. A.R.G. from 89 on Megamania Records. It's even got some quality crap lyrics. Let me read some. In silence you hear those screams of Hades. In darkness you see real light. None will know if they are going nowhere. You're like a drop in a stormy sea. I mean, come on. That's quality. But anyway, why this actually made sense when I started listening to it was that two of the members in this lineup on this one's called Entrance. I haven't mentioned it. It looks like a bloody death metal album cover. I mean, it looks like an Entombed cover. Put Entombed logo there, Entrance, and that you would have believed me. Anyway, why this made sense was Finnish death thrash band Lycanthropy were in A.R.G. 2 members. I've got that on a demo tape reissue. Came out on, I think, Skulls Records or something. And Spine Farm, though, this is the good thing about this. Spine Farm reissued this on CD in 2012. That itself is a little hard to get, but you've got an option. And then Hammerheart redid this LP in 2019, and that one is easy to get. So highly recommend you pick this one up. If you're happy to get reissues of things, go get this one. A.R.G. Entrance. It is just some excellent Finnish thrash. It is tight, it is fast, it's ripping. It's so good, particularly inside because there's some pretty funny things in here. So firstly on this side, A.R.G. reindeer metal and a reindeer. Is the R now reindeer? I don't know what's going on here. But it's reindeer metal. Maybe it's just Finland filled with reindeers and they're just making a point. Is that like me saying kangaroo metal? I'm assuming that might be it. But anyway, very, very Finnish stuff. On this side though, and I did not realise this when I purchased it, because you buy stuff on Discogs and there's no images. And I asked for photos, I got photos, but it didn't look that close. It's signed. The damn thing is signed. You've got signature here, 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 and some up here in pen. And I'm like, oh, someone just scribbled on this, but no. The writing is different. Like this here says Parsi on the drummer. That is the drummer. So I believe that this is real. Then there's like to Steve. Best wishes to Steve. I guess that was the previous owner at some point. Then Jani or Javi K is a Jari. So that's the guitarist there. And that's Parsi, the drummer. Visa on guitar. There's Visa in here somewhere. Not too sure, but this one here is Teppa on bass, and that's written there. So it's signed. Okay, tiny little signatures, but a nice little bonus. I don't particularly care about that stuff, but surprised when I saw it. And this one, again, beautiful condition on Megamania there, purple label. So yeah, if you like your thrash like really tight, heavy, and obscure, And if you like it to go back into the inner sleeve, son of a frickin' get in there. Failed at that. We'll fix that up after. If you like thrash the way I like thrash, check out A.R.G. in Trance, because it's bloody awesome. Or maybe it's Entrance. And the last one here, I saved the best for last, absolutely. I mean, we've been progressing here. I started off showing Forbidden and Megadeth, and they were in the early ones, and they're good. And here we are getting to A.R.G., which, if you've heard of, good luck to you. And this one, which has been on my wish list for a while, and didn't think there'd be a hope in Hades of showing up locally, and it did. Kind of wet me kecks. Bought it very quickly because Grail, top tier condition. This is, and I said this was an OG update, it's not all thrash, because this is Alastis with the Just Law, early black metal, primitive doomy black metal from Switzerland, 1993. This is awesome. The closest parallel, and it is incredibly obvious parallel, would be the first couple of releases, particularly the first one from their fellow countrymen, Samael. They were obviously cribbing each other's notes here, or at least, I don't know who came first. I'm assuming Samael were first and Alastis were looking at the homework. But if you worship him, you just go get this in some form or another, because it's the same bloody thing. But also, if you like the early Greek scene, I always thought that about the first couple of Samael, because it's sort of the slow, lots of space in it, lots of air, but also incredibly cult and evil sounding. It fits with some of those early bands, your early Varathron. It always sort of, those things sat together well for me. It's got that thin sounding guitar, very clean bass on it. Drums that are a little bit off and have reverb to them, but it's just all charming. Amazing stuff. Snarled vocals that are sort of way in the back. There's minimal keyboard support, but it is there. And that cover too. Probably a classic artwork or something along those lines. I don't know if it's a recreation, but amazing with a back there. Head Not Found. We'll get to this in a minute. There's the band looking very cult. We've got inverse photos down there. Fantastic. The last track, it's all good. The last track, though, on side B, opens with just clean guitar and drums. And the first thing I thought of was Bethlehem. So, they're also entered into the game. You sort of Dictus Tenacer, not when he's going nuts, but some of that slower stuff. I'm getting that with Alastis as well. So I refer to this kind of thing as primitive black metal, as charming, as I already said. So the skills are still being learned, but the passion is all there. The music is all there. The ideas are definitely all there. The band had 2 demos in 90 and 91 before finally putting out this one, The Just Law. And before that, they were known as the Fourth Reich back in 87. So they were around for a bit. And this is the impressive thing, really, about this one. All right, take a look inside. So again, do not think the previous owner played this. It is mint. It is also Head Not Found Release 001. It's the first thing released on the label. It's just amazing. This is a proper relic. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And the album is just top tier. I've shown in some of my newer videos things like that Baxaxa, right? Baxaxa. All of that stuff can be, it can all go back to bands like this. And, I think the styles are really, really similar. And that primitive sounding black metal, that very ancient sounding black doom, it's really appealing to me a lot these days, and that's why I think now is the time to pick up Alastis, The Just Law. First press on Head Not Found. Look, PO Box 447. You can go send them a letter out in Norway, and maybe you'll get a reply one day. You won't get a reply, but my absolute pick on a pretty significant update. 15 records here, all OG press, and for me, the highlight, Alastis, The Just Law, Head Not Found, number 1. Boy, am I tired after that one. I bet you are too. Pretty sure this is going to be a long video, but I hope you stayed around and watched and enjoyed. I don't think we're going to be doing an OG press update for a little bit after that banger. So Hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please like and subscribe. Links to listen to this stuff will be in the description, so go check them out. Make sure that you check out this guy and this guy. I'll see you all next time.